Hi, welcome back to the series that I'm doing on literate programming, where essentially what we are doing is creating a website, a blog, and using that as a pretext to learn a whole lot of new skills to do with GitHub, to deal with blogdown, to deal with markdown, and miscellaneous things that come up in the process of doing it. We're now at the world's least exciting part. I was going to say the least exciting part of the whole thing, but I don't think Git is going to take the cake for that one. Git is probably the worst thing ever. But shortly behind that is Hugo. Hugo actually isn't terrible, but it has a bad reputation amongst R programmers because it's a bit finicky at times and doesn't always play very well with R. We're all deeply reliant on the skills of about 2 or 3 people that we're all just copying things from. So I'm going to introduce to you a little bit of the structure of the files that we've created in this blog in the process of forking, templating from DJ Navarro's new blog, creating the waffle blog, blah 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 blah. We've created a whole bunch of files here, and I want to have a bit of a look at, so just as a reminder, these files are all in here, and it's probably about time that, just make that go away, it's probably about time that we actually had a look, looked in a little bit more detail about what each of these files is. So let's go back over to here. Okay, so excuse me. Before I dive into it, I should just say that there are a bunch of tutorials for using this blogging template. They come with the website. I won't go into them. I'll just leave you to read those whenever you feel like. What I actually want to do is, as I said, let's have a look at these files. So on the right hand side here you can see all the files that I have as part of this project, and a lot of those are things that are just part and parcel of the normal process of using R. We've seen both the install packages.r script and the git config.r script. These are things that I wrote. They're not strictly speaking part of the blog. They are part of our project, but I just wrote them. These are regular R scripts that I needed to solve one problem or another. The .rproj file, newblog.rproj, is the think of it as a sentinel file. What it really says is, hey, this is your project. It has a little bit of metadata that are useful about an RStudio project, but realistically what it is to say, this is the home directory, the home folder for our blog, right? And every RStudio project has one of these files. Okay, so those three are all those are all standard R files. The .rhistory file is just a text file that contains the list of the history of files, the commands. Very tired. The history of the commands that we've typed, and so you can delete that if you like. You can leave it there. It's not super exciting. The git ignore file is something used by Git. It's a very useful file, so don't delete it. I'm not going to talk much about what goes into it right now, but the key thing to note about it is that it has in there a list of, here are some files that should not be pushed up to GitHub, and your Git repository will ignore those files, hence git ignore. It's essentially a list of all the files that we will simply not include as part of our Git repository. That is a super useful thing to have, because you can do things like, oh, wait a minute, this is a personal detail, I'll just add it to the git ignore file, and then it would be ignored. Okay, so those are, we know what all those files are. Cool, so let's just ignore those. Now what have we got left? Okay, pretty much everything else we have left here is related to our blog. And what we have are several folders, directories, whatever you prefer to call them, that contain different types of content that are associated with the blog. The content folder is where all of your R Markdown files for the blog are stored. So if I go back over to my RStudio Cloud, have a look under content, I see, okay, oh, post, hey, there's a whole bunch of files that are um, my R Markdown documents, including the very waffly post about waffles. So that is a file I just created. When I did my new post command at the very beginning in blogdown, it created this. This is the file here. In fact, if I click on it, um, uh, yeah, it takes me over here. There's the file that I was editing earlier. So content is all of the files that are being that are associated with the content that you write within RStudio. Okay, so we know what that is. Docs, we've seen that before. Docs is going back up here, but let's actually revisit it. Docs, if I can remember to go project, then we go docs. This is the website itself. So index.html, if I just went, I can do this actually and kind of go, I don't know if I just click on it, I think it gives me the option view in web browser. It shows the home page. It's missing a bunch of key information, but you can tell that this is the home page. It doesn't like it if you load it without the rest of the context, which is why it looks like rubbish. But that is the website. Okay, so we know what that is. Docs is the output file. Typically in blogdown, most themes will not create a docs folder. They'll create a public folder. It's the same thing. The reason that for this blog it's called docs is for integration with GitHub pages, so that I can just automatically click a button and up goes the web page. So in this blog, the website itself is kept in the docs folder. For other blogdown sites, you will typically see this being replaced with a public folder. Same thing. Layouts are layouts is a point where I hiss a little bit and go because this is where you have to interact with Hugo, which is to say I'm not going to be interacting with Hugo itself. Hugo being the content management system that structures all of this as a blog so that you don't have to write all the low-level stuff yourself. If you ever get to the point that you want to customize the layout, so you want to create your own layout thing, do it in the layout folder. Any customization to the underlying theme that you want to do, you put in layouts. That is you, the user, string a bell, adapting and modifying the blog. That's the place that she does it. Do not, and I learnt the hard way not to do this, edit the themes folder. Themes folder is where Hugo itself keeps its themes. It has all of its system files really in there, and generally you don't want to touch them. Yeah, look, ask anyone. There's a world of hurt that comes with modifying the themes folder. Until you're ready to go and write your own Hugo themes from scratch, just don't touch it. That's the one we leave alone. Finally, there's the static folder. So let's go and have a look under static. It's probably, actually I'm not even sure we have a static folder. Let me check. We do. Cool. And in it we have, okay, this has a bunch of things in there. Files, there's not much in here. These are just files that that blogdown doesn't touch. When the blog gets built, these files just get copied straight into docs with no intervening process. So the distinction here that you want to remember, go back up here, between static and content. Content is the stuff that blogdown will create, blogdown will mess with, and then those get passed on to Hugo, and Hugo turns those into a website. That's the stuff that goes in content. In other words, for our purposes, that's just your R Markdown files. Your R Markdown files, they go in content. Everything else, like your images and things like that, pictures, videos, whatever, you would dump those in the static folder. That's the core difference. Took me a little while to get my head around that one, so hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so where were we? Okay, so that is the core structure of our blog. It's built around those directories, okay, or folders, depending on how old you are. Cool. That leaves only two unexplained files: the index.rmd file and the config.toml file. Let's start out by index.rmd. We can. Why am I so bad at this? Okay, under index.rmd, what we see is essentially nothing. This is a placeholder file, a little bit like the rproj file is used by RStudio to say, hey, this is the project. This file here is being used by blogdown to say, hey, this is a blog. Same thing. Key thing is we don't touch that one. We can leave that alone. Okay. So we have only one thing left, config.toml. That must be our user settings for the blog. This is the one we want to play around with. Because right now, our blog looks like this, and Stringerbell, although that's what, I have up there, Stringerbell might not want that to be her blog. She might want it to look different. So, what can I do to modify this? A lot of these settings can be changed within the config.toml file. Toml, I'm just going to pause to cry for a moment, stands for Tom's Obvious Markup Language. Just like YAML, yet another markup language. Why? I don't know. It is yet another markup language. No, I mean, eventually you actually do start learning how these things work, but let's, when you are first starting out, you go, oh god, not another bloody markup language. Okay, let's just go and say, I don't care about learning Toml, which has an attitude that has sort of gotten me a long way in life. So let's open it. I'll just close all of these other files because I'm nitpicky that way. I like my nice and clean things. Okay, so the config file is written using Tom's obvious. Okay, so I was wrong with minimal language markup, whatever. Okay, there is in fact a website that tells you all about how to use Toml. I'm just going to go through these settings and change a few things that Stringerbell would probably want to change for her blog. Well, firstly, this base URL just means essentially where is it going to be located. So if I had a site and I do, at djnavarro.github.io/HugoSlum, that's that's the base URL. So there are useful reasons for getting this right in GitHub. So if we go back over, do I even have one? Can I just go? Let me go back to github.com/Stringerbell blog about waffles. Okay, so the website here is Waffle Blog, and if you remember from under settings, it's going to be the website for it is at stringerbell.github.io/waffleblog. You want to make sure that your Hugo blog knows about this, so that's what we're going to do. We're just going to copy and paste from that part. Well, I won't copy and paste, I'll just type. So we go over here and go Waffle Blog, okay? Cool, I've changed that setting. Relative URLs equals true. Sure, why not? Publish directory equals docs. If I wanted to set it back to public and make it like a standard blogdown blog, I would edit that, but I'm not gonna. The theme is Hugo Slum. That is to say, if I look under the themes folder over here, this is the name of the Hugo theme. Again, Hugo, Hugo. Themes is the folder that we do not touch. I say again, having made that mistake in the past. So theme is Hugo Slum. That's correct. That is the name of the Slumdown blog, or the Slumdown theme that I wrote. It uses that. Okay, so this is a title for my blog. I'm not going to call it Slumdown. I'm going to call it Waffle Blog in all caps because Stringer Bell is feeling very shouty today. Okay, so it's been given that Waffle Blog title. Okay, so these are a bunch of there's some more settings under here, and you notice that I'm just going through. I'm not even bothering to learn how Toml works. I'm just editing and kind of going, you know what? Don't know what any of those things are, so I will ignore them. A very typical strategy for dealing with documentation or configuration files that you don't understand. Leave the bits you don't understand alone. Okay, under here we have permalinks. This is saying what should the structure of your blog post URLs look like. So I like mine to kind of go, stringerbell.com, whatever, slash my blog, and then just the name of the post. I don't want anything else, so mine just goes post followed by the slug. Slug is the bit that says a very waffly post. But other people like it to also include the year and the month and the day as well as part of the link, part of the URL. If that's you, then you can edit those things. I'm not going to because I think it's fine the way that it is. Next up in our little list of settings is a menu. So this specifies how the menu options are laid out. So if I go over to Stringerbell's Waffle blog, over here we have the navigation area here that has home, about, posts, projects, tags. I would like to edit that in some fashion. Right, so what I want to do is I will go over here, and first off, I'm not even going to bother to show tags because Stringerbell is lazy and she doesn't use tags. And I'm also going to do, just to show you, I'm going to change the weight associated with each of these things. So I'm going to make that one 3 and that one 4. And then I'm going to save it again. What that does is it changes the order of the menus. So when we rebuild the blog, it's going to go home, about, then project, then post, and the tags won't be there because I got rid of them. Okay, we're most of the way through our configuration. We have here some things for a header file and a site profile and some stuff for Twitter and For the moment, I'm going to leave those things alone, and I'm just going to let's see if my serve site is still running in the background. It actually worked remarkably. Several videos ago, I typed in serve site, and so every time I change anything about the blog, it automatically updates in the viewer pane. So it hasn't changed anything on here on Stringerbell's actual website, but it has changed, like inside RStudio Cloud, the little preview window is now updating things. So what we can see is that the menus now appear in the order that Stringerbell wants them in, and I got rid of the tags one. And if I go show in new window, notice up here in the title here it goes home/waffle blog. Yeah. Whereas the original one said home/slumdown, and all of the pages on this have a home/slumdown thing. We've changed the title of the blog as it is displayed to the web browser. Hasn't changed the title here. This is just the title of the site as the web browser itself registers it. So we've edited that. We've called it Waffle Blog. And that is, let's have a look. We've made some of the changes that I wanted to do. What are these other options? Okay. Look, Danielle likes the dark theme. That's her thing. But Stringer Bell is much more, this is a waffle blog. I want it to be light and fluffy. I need to change the theme. Okay, now, or the color scheme, I shouldn't say theme. That's the worst possible word I could have just used. Remember I said earlier on that Markdown controls the content or the structure of your blog posts. It does not control the style. Style is handled by style files, CSS files, which is short for cascading style sheet, allow you to do that. The Slumdown blogs have a few different color schemes that come with them. So there are, I'll show you very briefly. If we go over here in the files menu and do the thing we're not supposed to do, I'm not going to change themes, I'm just going to browse it and go under Hugo Slum and then go under static CSS. Aha! It comes with two of these palette functions. So we've got palette dark and palette light. Well, let's have a look at what the light themed blog looks like. So if we just go change it to light, so we're going to use this one instead, and then go save. Serve site does its magic in the background. I tap over here to view it. Ooh, hello. If I go back over here and just refresh this page. Hello. We like you. Okay, so that has changed our color scheme a bit. So instead of having the black, we've got the light colors and things like that. It's easy enough to create your own palette files if you actually really want to change your own color scheme. I will point out that, remember when I said, so the first thought you might have if you ever start tinkering is, oh, well, this is the mistake I have made in the past, and kind of go, oh, well, this is all in themes, right? So themes, Hugo Slum, static, CSS. So I'll just go and create my own stuff. Do not create your own palette files in the themes folder. Do not touch the themes folder. What we can do instead is just temporarily go, okay, let's open this up, have a look at it, and go, oh, okay, these are really, really simple files. So if you know how to edit these things, you can change your own colors. What I'll do now though is point out, I'm going to go back over here to project. Remember when I said when you want to customize things yourself, use layouts, partials. You could create things in there, or the other way to do it, in fact this actually doing it under static is a much better idea. Ignore my last. Under static /CSS, oh look at that, palette Kunoichi. Because this will be copied directly across, I can actually use that. So let's have a look at Kunoichi, which I borrowed, gratefully adopted from Emi Tanaka, who was at Sydney Uni. She's now at Monash. So we go Kunoichi, and I think that's sort of short for basically Lady Ninja. And if we use that color scheme we get, let's do it over here because it looks nicer. So we go from that light color scheme to Control R to refresh the page. Ooh. So Kunoichi is like a purple blog with orange links. I'm going to leave it as Kunoichi in fact. So you can change the theme that way and you can customize it however you like. That. Awesome. Getting somewhere? Okay. Now that header image is a bit of a problem because that's a picture of Danielle, and look, she's great. I like Danielle. I get along with her just fine, but I don't want her on my blog. Neither, quite frankly, do I want this ggplot image in the background. So it turns out, shockingly, that in our config file we have information about site header. As we would know from our ggplot data visualization things, MPG is part of the miles per gallon thing. Yes, that set of dots you see in the background is part of that data visualization that you have drawn about 50 times so far in this class. So we're going to replace that with something else, And we're also going to change the site profile image. So instead of my profile for Danielle, I want String of Bells profile to be under there. What I'm going to need to do is add some static files. So I need, what String of Bell wants to do is say, hold on, I'm going to have my own stuff. So if we go back over to the files window and go back to the static directory, what I want to be able to do is have it create some headers. Sorry, I'm going to do a couple of things. First, I am going to go new folder and go headers. So this is going in the static folder. It does help if I spell it correctly. Right? So again, static directory is a good place for us to add our own files. Now, I called this header over here and headers over there. That's going to be a bit of a problem unless I go over here and go rename and go header. The R file pane kind of lets you do quite a bit of that kind of stuff, and that's actually super helpful when, like me, you make silly errors. So under there, go okay. Let's upload some files. Okay, so here is this bit where RStudio Cloud needs to interact with my local computer. On my local computer, String of Bell has saved some files. So let's go browse. Let's go to String of Bell's desktop. I wonder if the place to look is in an obvious folder. Let's try that. If you're on Mac or on Windows, you will get a different looking visual, navigation pane here. I'm on Ubuntu, so this is the Ubuntu browser. So we'll go, okay, inside an obvious folder. Well, I think String of Bell will want her own profile image. I can either have it be a square image like it is on GitHub, or we can make it a round one. I'm going to do the round one. So we'll click on that and we will go open, and then we go OK, uploading file, and bam, there it is. Okay, that's great. I would also like to have a header image, and I literally, Scope 03 Thin was basically a piece of artwork that I made. Well, Scope 03 is the original artwork. I made it, I had it lying around. String of Bell is going to use that as her header, as her banner, the header image. So we'll go open. Okay. And there we go. The files that we want are now inside our RStudio project. So all I have to do is now edit my TOML file and go site header. For the header, we want that to be a scope. So header / scope 03 thin.png. Good. And then let's get rid of Danielle's face and replace it with String of Bells. Classic, classy looking thing. Stringer Bell. Circle. We can do the circle one. Okay. Alright. I'm going to ignore the Twitter image for the purposes of this. This is basically just when you share. Actually, why not? Just let's not be stingy. Edit the Twitter image too, and we'll say that. So if I went to share my blog on Twitter, I would like it to show a picture up there, and I'll just have it be the String of Bell's face or whatever. So what we're going to have to do is specify the full path to the image, because I don't know, Twitter. There are other ways of doing this, but I'm just going to do the one that I know right now. So we're going to go, okay, so this goes to String of Bell's waffle blog. Right. Oh no. Waffle blog. Yeah. I swear to God, I can type. I'm used to typing. Okay, so under waffle blog, header, and then we're going to go String of Bell. conveniently it's coming up with a helpful tip, so I'm just gonna go with that. Okay, sorry about the size of the screen there. Okay, so we've got that. Okay, so we've now edited the thing that will show up on Twitter when we share a link to our blog, the site profile, my face, the header, which is like the banner at the top. We've edited the color scheme so that we're now using the purple kunoichi thing. We've got a description for the blog. This will sort of appear in a couple of little places. We'll go a blog. A bog? Yeah, it's a bog. A bog about waffles. And we will say at the bottom and the footer, that's another thing we can edit. Let's just get rid of all of this rubbish and go. There we go. So we'll say copyright Stringer Bell. I don't know what I'm doing with caps thing. That'll do. That's good enough. I'm very tired, and this has been a long pandemic, and it's not even close to over. Okay, we have most of the things we now need. Like, so we've edited all of these parameters for the waffle blog, and in fact, under the hood serve site has been updating things. So if I just go, I'm just going to go over to here and go, ooh, now we got something pretty. So we've changed that, we've changed that. We still haven't changed any of this. This is the home page. But we have changed stuff that says copyright Stringer Bell, a real person. And yay, we have made quite a bit of progress. We have most of the customization that we require for the blog. I'm going to go back over to my slides over here. Okay, so we've done that. We've done that. And now we are ready to stage our changes, commit them, and push them back up to GitHub. So that was what I showed you how to do at the end of the last video, and so that's kind of like, and in fact is, the homework exercise for the end of this video. All of these changes right now are on, and you can even see danielnavarro.rstudiocloud.cloud. I wish that said Stringer Bell, it really should. But it's on my RStudio Cloud thing, but I haven't updated anything on GitHub, and so sadly Stringer Bell's GitHub page is not up to date, so we're going to do that. That's the take-home homework exercise on this one. Okay, once we've done all that, though, you would find that the website has changed, and you would have Stringer Bell's fancy waffle blog. So that is the second to last, I hope, of these blog down videos, and I'll stop now and then come back to discuss actually using R code in all of this.